Hello everyone, I'm Benjamin here, and today I'm going to be showing you the build that I'm going to be using in Path of Exile. As you can see in front, right now on the screen, you can see that I've made a spreadsheet about the character, the class, and all the other stuff. But basically, I've been doing some work. I've made a whole bunch of builds, doing some work, practicing, just for when the game goes into open beta, because it's going to be going into open beta within like next month or less, 3 weeks. That's what I've heard. But so it's gonna happen fairly soon. So what I'm doing is I was putting together a couple builds. The couple builds I've already done. I've done a Blood Magic Ground Slam Marauder, which everyone's done before, but I did it, I don't know, about like 6 months ago or so, when before they changed too much of the skill tree around. So I was playing it around the beginning, and it was good. It's still good now, but it's just very cookie cutter. So what I'm building now is, I was looking at the skill tree and I was playing with my cousin, and he thought up of a build that seemed pretty interesting. That I built for. Well, he seemed interested in it, and then I built it for him. Basically, his build was a super tank. It was like shield defense, shield block, HP, regen, lots of HP, blood magic. So he had super tank, which would be good for me because he would absorb all the damage and just go in there and have everybody attack him, and I could just sit back and shoot. Originally, what I was going to do would be a ranger with just poison arrow, basically just a generic ranger with just a whole bunch of damage, no HP, and all evasion. So I died one hit, but I'd kill stuff fairly fast. But I was like, that's not too good. So then I was working around with a Shadow who was working with crit and flicker strike, which is fun, but I died way too much at the beginning because I just didn't have any defenses and I was super squishy. And even when I got to levels 53, I think, I was doing better because I was playing a bit more cautious, but it was fun, but I just didn't like it too much at the higher levels. It's fun when you're overpowered at the, let's see, level 53. I have a video up of it already, but it's the flicker strike where you just teleport and one-shot everything. That's fun if you're only one-shotting stuff. If you're not one-shotting stuff, it's not as fun, in my opinion. The only way that build will be really good is higher on levels and when you have lots of gear. And what I'm actually building now is a Duelist Ethereal Knives build. What it is Ethereal Knives is a skill where you basically throw throwing knives, like a spread of 9 of them at the start. And it's pretty good, but it's quite mana intensive. Like right here, as you can see, I have skills and Ethereal Knives. Just basically the basic skill is 60. So that's estimated because on the wiki it doesn't go up that high. It's like 48 or something like that because it's not fully filled in yet. I don't know why, but I'll be trying to fill it in maybe when the game officially comes out and I have all the details and that kind of thing. But it's quite mana intensive because when you have more HP than mana, at least on most of my characters I had more HP than mana, so it would I would get maybe 5 casts off, then I have to spam a couple potions just to heal back up my mana so I can cast it again, and I have to chain that with other things. But that skill is really strong because it's damage, like I think at level 5 it's 21 to 43, and that's better than most weapons at that point, so you can do a lot of damage with it, and it's somewhat range. It's about a medium range thing, but you can make it longer. But before I get to that, basically what I was looking at into it is wands give spell damage, and since it's not a spell, but it uses spell damage and projectile damage to make it so it does more damage. So I'm going to be dual wielding wands, and right here you can see it says dual wielding wands, one for spell damage, one for spell damage and speed. I could just sacrifice the speed for even more spell damage. That would help to have speed, but I'm going to be having a faster casting right down here, which is going to help me cast the spell faster. And basically, the more % damage you have on your wands, the more it scales with how much damage it does. And I was thinking of doing daggers for crit chance, but it's going to be a lot harder to get daggers with spell damage, spell crit chance, and spell crit multiplier. As you can see here, this is basically what I want on most of them. I get 40% crit is basically almost the base amount of crit, but it doesn't give you The same thing as with for melee attack as spell, so I think it's like divided by half, so you get half your crit. And the 5.5 and the 7.1, those are like the what's on the weapon, and it's actually a lot higher than that, but I just kind of just generalizing that. And the crit damage in the brackets and the question mark is if I can get it on it, that'd be good. And so I just figured spells would be the best way to go for this build, so I'm just going to stick with spells. On the armor, basically just things I linked, just what I would need linked for, mainly 4-link stuff. Helm, boots, gloves, 4-link, those can be almost whatever color I need, because my main skill is I'm only going to be probably using 1 or 2 skills more than the rest of them, like, yeah, so, the color sockets that I'm going to need on the 5-link, I would like to get 6-link, but that's pretty fucking hard to get, so I'm just going to be doing a 5-link green, 2 greens, 1 blue, and 2 red sockets. And if I can get a 6 socket, I think the other one's going to be another red. So it'll be 3 reds, 1 blue, and 2 greens. I don't know why it says I was loading or something. So that'd be fairly hard to get, especially since I'm going to be using mainly either armor or evasion dex. Evasion armor, because of the passive points that I'm picking up along the way. Just because I think it may be better. I don't know for sure. I still need to work on that. And the armor prefix and suffixes that I'm going to want to get on them, that's basically like the added stats. Oh, they're almost all the same, because all I need basically is just protection. All resistances, although I just put all resistances because you can get lightning, cold, and fire individually, and those can get much higher than all resistances. Like I think the highest you can get on all resistances is 15, and you can get like a double 30 on like fire and cold, so getting them individually is actually better than all at some points. Then also I'm going to want to get HP regen if I can. That's not really a necessity with what I'm going to be getting. Plus armor, plus bonus armor, so the armor stacks it pretty high. And on the helm and chest, maybe bonus HP. I don't know about that one for sure. And that's basically the helm and chest are almost the exact same thing, because they can get really similar stats on helm and chests. And on boots, I want to get resistances, because getting resistances is one of the only ways you can stay alive if you take lightning damage or cold, especially cold. That's a pain to deal with. It's like plus armor, and you can also get bonus stats. Wouldn't mind getting bonus stats on my gloves. You can also get damage, but damage doesn't go with ethereal knives, so that's not very good. HP regen, so it's pretty similar to the chest and helm, but it's more stat intensive if I can try to get it if I'm lucky. And on the boots, I want to get resistances. Basically, you want resistances on everything, so I'm not going to bother talking about resistances. I'm just going to say all resist. You want move speed on boots just so you can move around faster, so those damn charging enemies, when they come after you, can move out of the way. Plus armor, any stat, HP regen. So it's similar basically on that one. If I can get 35% move speed, I'd sacrifice resistances and armor just for that move speed, so I can get out of there really fast. Plus I'll have phase run, which is another skill. Then amulet, all stats, because I'm going to be using the Onyx amulet. It's going to be giving me 20 to all my stats. Then I can get another roll of all stats on it. It's like I have one on my one character. It's a Dex Onyx amulet with 20 stats to all, and then I got a bonus roll of 21 stats to all, so it's a 41 stat neck with some other random garbage stats. I'm just using it for that reason. And if I can get lucky, I can roll an any stat, which would be like strength, dex, or in any one of those would be nice, but that's not as important. You can also roll spell damage on an amulet, which is what I'm probably going to be mainly rolling for, because if you get the spell damage, it'll do more damage with ethereal knives, and then all resistances. For the rings, I'm just going to be using the resist rings, the probably 2 colds or a cold and a lightning, depending on the act I'm in. Act 1, I'm going to be always using the cold resist ring, because almost every single enemy in Act 1 does cold damage, which I don't like cold damage. Get an any stat, and when I go to Act 2, I'm probably going to switch to lightning, because there are a lot of dungeons in there that use lightning damage. And lightning damage is not as bad as cold, but if you get hit and you get shocked, you take 40% more, and that stacks up to 3 times. So if you get shocked 3 times and you get hit, you're taking 120% more damage. So that's not nice. And then basically I just want all resistance stats. I can get, I don't know, attack speed or whatever bonus HP on almost anything. That's why I have the ring ×2, almost anything. So that's, I don't really care about that. And on the belt, I'm either going to go with a strength belt or an HP belt. Strength belt because it'd give me more damage through the 1% more damage for every 5 strength. Or the HP belt just because it'll give me more HP regen and more survivability basically. But the strength belt also gives HP, but not as much. On the belt, just get some all resistances, any stats, HP regen, bonus HP. This bonus HP can actually be swapped out if I'm using the HP belt. It'd be nice to have it, but I don't need it so much. I've covered that. Basically, there are a couple uniques that I would try to get, but I'm not entirely sure. It's a neck piece that gives like plus 10% like life steal or something like that. But I don't know if life steal works too incredibly well on ethereal knives. And now to get onto the skills that I'm going to sock it in. Basically, I just have it set up so it's a 5, but if I get a 6th, the only thing that I'm going to add is a added fire damage for more damage. Got to get the deeps. First skill is ethereal knives. It costs 60. I have a little formula set up here to show me the cost of it, but ethereal knives, which is fairly expensive, get faster projectiles, which will increase the damage, and it will increase how far the projectiles go, because essentially faster projectiles gives you more range on how far your knives will get thrown. And on faster casting, just so you can cast a spell faster, because it doesn't really scale with attack speed unless you're using Frenzy or Blood Rage. So unless you have a way to generate what are you doing, Kelly? Frenzy charges without having to sacrifice life, you can use that probably instead of faster casting, but faster casting is always good. Reduce mana, just because it's a pain to use. I just have it of its base value of 90% if you were to just find it, but I think it goes as low as 70. So see if I change that to 70. It'd bring it down to a 55, so I'm just going to keep it at 90 because that's what it is base. And Iron Will doesn't cost anything. I just have it as 1 because if I put a 0 there, it's going to just screw my formula. So I just have it as 1. And added fire damage would add like another, I don't know, probably 5 to this casting of skill. So it'll be 71 mana. But so it's fairly expensive to cast and cost one of the highest in the game. For life and life regen, I'm going to be stacking life. I'm going to be picking up a majority of the life regen nodes that I can get my hands on. I think I can get up to 5.2, but that's not until after I get a couple more things. So with this, it's a simple formula of that times that gives me that. Fairly simple. And with 4,200 life, which is my projected amount of life through all the life passives, all the strength, and everything like that. 4,200, which is a lot of life, if you ask me. We have no HP regen on any of my stats. It will be 176 per second, so it's a lot of life regen. I could have more, but it's a lot of life regen for this, and so that's good for survivability. I don't know about my armor or evade. Well, I'm not going to have any evade, but I'll get into that a little bit later. And life spent per cast. Why is this life spent? I'm going to get to that after this. But I'm going to want to get at least 2 attacks per second, or close to 2 attacks a second, just so I can get some nice attacks going off. But if it costs 71.28 in the game, this is going to be 71. There's no points, but that's the exact number. 71, and I attack 2 times a second. I'm going to be spending 142 mana or life a second, and I regen 176, so I can spam the skill forever and I wouldn't kill myself or get too low on life. So that's why it is like that. And also the reason why I want life per second is because you can get much more life per second than you can mana per second without using clarity. Other skills that I'm going to want: projectile weakness, just because it makes enemies take 25% more damage with projectiles, which would 25% more damage with my ethereal knives. Hatred for the added cold damage. Rejuvenation totem, maybe. Bear trap. I've seen bear trap deep scope into like 15k, so you can one-shot blue mobs and champs. Maybe not one shot. You can one shot blue mobs, but not champs. But you can bring them down to like half or so. Flame totem with probably the lightning. Added lightning damage. I don't know. But the reason why I want this flame totem and projectile weakness is because projectile flame totem's flames are considered a projectile. So your projectile weakness adds like I think a 40% chance to knock back or something like that. It's like 20 to 40% chance to knock back. So if I throw down a flame totem and I hit him with enemy with projectile weakness, they'll be constantly being knocked back because the flame totem attacks every 0.05 seconds. So it attacks extremely fast, so they're never going to come anywhere near me, plus any other support gems I'm going to be sticking in with these things. And so, time to get onto the build that I'm using. Let me just get Path of Exile back open up here. And so right now, this is in hardcore. I'm going to try doing most of this build in hardcore, just because if I die, I go to softcore, so there's no real risk, it's just in a different league. And it seems to be a lot more chatty people on hardcore than softcore, at least from what I've seen. When I'm I'm going to show you what I'm going to want to get to after a while, but right now this is what I got. I think I'm level 20. I'm level 27. Where I'm going to try to start. As I start here, I'm going through the attack speed, get some projectile damage, and actually by the end of it, these are the only 2 damage nodes that I'm going to be getting. Actually, 3, so it's 18% more damage, which will add up to my total damage for my ethereal knives, which I have down here, which I'm going to actually try to get before the beta is over. So I think it's level 6 right now, so it's 35 to 51 damage. My one sword is 32 to 65 physical, so it's pretty good. It's on par with my sword. my pretty good sword for this level too. Get the dex, get the armored evasion nodes, go down here, blah blah blah, get the life, and make your way over here. You're gonna get iron reflexes, but that's later on. Once you get more life regen, go down here, get this, get that, and there you go. So this is basically where I'm at level 27. I'm building it as a sword and board for leveling, just because I don't want to die. So I'm doing a lot of defensive, not too much offensive. I was going dual wield for the beginning, but I was just taking a bit too much damage for my liking, so I just went shield. It's a pretty bad shield too. And so that's basically what I'm using. I have Detonate. Detonate Dead is a must that I actually probably going to add onto my list, because the fucking necros, the skeletons and zombies, they just continually raise them. Detonate Dead, you kill the zombie or skeleton, pop that, you blow up their corpse, they can't be revived anymore. I'm tempted to put it on a totem to do it for me, but I don't have a totem on my hardcore yet. And then Anger, which I'm not going to upgrade anymore, it's not too good. Maybe I could, but not right now. So, there's my kiwi. And so, let me get back to this. And I have my passive skill tree. This is what it's going to be when it's fully being used. When I'm I think at level 71 or 70. It's like 71 or 77. It's in one of those ranges. 70. It's basically the level 70s. You're gonna see. You're gonna follow the same path. And actually, this build isn't the optimized version. But you go down here, you follow the same path. You grab those, but instead of getting these, because this adds up to 40% more life, because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 8 is 40. But if you take away these, so they take away 3, and you add them here, you can get an 18%, which gives you a 50% more life, so it adds 10% more life for less cost, so you want to go that route instead. And also, you can also try to grab these later on, but I'm not going to bother with that. When you go down here at a certain level, you're going to get iron reflexes, because at this point, my guy on hardcore already have like 160 dex already. Let me check that actually. I have 191 dex already, and I'm only level 27. So, but I think I already have some dex on my gear. But you're gonna have a lot of dex, so you get a lot of evasion just from your passive dex. So that's gonna add to your armor. You're also gonna want grace, which is gonna add to more armor. You're gonna get diamond skin, which is always nice for resistances. You're gonna get all the life. Then after that, you're gonna get blood magic, which solves your mana problem, because you'll be using life. And since you're gonna have a shit ton of life, you're gonna have a lot of life regen, which in turn is mana because of blood magic. which will make it so you can spend skills more. And you're going to pick up the int, so that's why I picked up all the life nodes and the more life over there, blah blah. Int, because you're going to want to use better wands, and better wands allow you to get better affixes on the wands, which means more spell damage. You're going to pick up some more life down here. You could get bloodlust, bloodless, but not that many. You're going to be using range, so enemies that shouldn't be coming close to you. Pick up more strength, fire resist, all those. You could actually try to get these at later levels after you go to the certain point. Get more life, some strength. Those are basically worthless, but that's the only thing there. You can't go that way to get these. Well, you could, but you won't get the life. You'll just get the armor passives. Get the more life regen, life, more life regen, life. And this one is a nice one that I'm glad this path they chose goes this direction, because it adds, right now the maximum amount of resist you can get is 75 cold, 75 lightning, 75 fire, but with this it allows you to get 80, so you get more resistances. Excuse me. And right here you can go different directions this way, choose to go another way, but right here you can either go this way or this way. It costs the same, so it's 1 2 3 4 or 1 2 3 4, but then it also puts you closer to a 30 dex agility rune, keystone actually. When you go up here, right, and I may, and no, well, I was gonna say, I forgot. When you go up here, you're gonna get more life, which this one's a nice one because it adds 30% more, 30 life to you, basically, and then you get 12% more on top of that. So it's actually more like 40% life, 40 life, but more life. You don't need any damage runes because you're single-handed. You're using wands, which doesn't do anything to you. And at that point, you're never gonna miss because projectiles on spells, because Ethereal Knives is a spell, they never miss anyway. They have a 100% chance to hit, so Dex, you don't need to get that, which if you weren't using that, that'd be a nice one to get. But you're also going to try to get these two at a certain level, so it's 1% more life regen, so you get 5.2, and see if you have 4.5 and 5.2, you get a lot more. You get 40 more, 50 more, so that's nice to have. Then you want to go here to get some more int. You think this one may be worthless, mana regen, but it has cast speed, and cast speed allows you to cast the Ethereal Knives a bit faster, which is really handy because it attacks slow. You get the reduced mana cost, which actually didn't factor into this, but it's 10% of 71, or a little bit higher actually, a little bit lower. Higher, lower doesn't matter too much. Then you get the int, just so you can use the better wands. So then once you get to that point, it could be optimized maybe a little bit more, but I think this is fine for now. Get those 2 more levels, so that it'd be like this. Then you're gonna want to go, and actually you kind of want to go up here. When you go down, wait, where is it at? Oh, you want to get this one. Go up, over, and get that for more resistances and elemental damage because you're using hatred. Percentage of your physical damage is converted into cold, so the more physical you have, the more cold you do, and with this you'll do even more cold. And you're actually going to maybe want to make your way this way, because you can get the cast speed ones, but that's not too important to get those. The next thing I would try to do actually would be to pick up the rest of these light resist nodes, just because the more resist the better. After a certain point, like, what can I spend my points on? I basically got my build to where I want it to be. But you can actually, I don't care, fraps, of course, I'm recording. You can actually make your way up here, get some dex, get some more movement speed. You can get increased mana, which is kind of worthless at this point. You can get the more elemental damage. You can pick up more life, which is, I think, what I'm actually going to try to do. You can get more evasion. Attack speed doesn't factor into it. You can get the more move speed. Basically, at this point, you'd want to focus on getting survivability and movement and whatnot. You can make your way up to get life. Basically, after a certain point, you just want more life, which in turn gives you more mana to spend. But it's going to be a lot harder to level up at that point, since I don't know about that now, because right now it's hard to level up past level 84, which I have a level 81 on Legacy League. It takes forever to level up. So, well, maybe when Act 3 comes out, they're going to make it so leveling up will be a bit easier. Maybe. Who knows? So, that is basically the build. It's an Ethereal Knives blood magic, cast speed, damage, because that's quite a bit of damage. So that's basically what I'm going for. I mean, I don't think so. I can get anywhere about over here. Life. Oh, that actually be a good place to work toward. Yeah, actually, that would be a good place to work toward with the rest of your points. I didn't see those down there earlier. So, revise that plan. After you get what you want down there, if you have enough points, was 12 points enough to get there? Let's see. I don't think so. No, 12 points isn't enough. So you can just sacrifice some. Yeah, you can get there, but you have to get rid of like we can get like one each of those, because at that point you're already picking up some more down here. Get life, another life. So you can just work toward life regen. Actually, that's a really good way to go. I can always just get rid of some other stuff. But hey, that's basically the gist of my build. And hopefully I'll see you online in Path of Exile. And until next time, see you guys later.